Welcome to a new week and to a new batch of daily thoughts. And this week I'd like us to think about the power of words. And we're going to use the book of Proverbs in the Bible to help us to do that. Proverbs belongs to the wisdom writings in the Bible, and it is full of short, pithy sayings on a whole variety of subjects. And although it is ancient wisdom, it is also timeless wisdom, as relevant for us today as it was when it was first written. And the idea of wisdom that it brings to us is not about being clever, about being knowledgeable, but it is immensely practical wisdom, knowing how to conduct ourselves, knowing how to make the right choices in life, in the everyday affairs of living. And one of the areas of daily life where it has a lot to say is in the things that come out of our mouths, the way that we use our tongues, the use of words. And so we start today with the power of words and Proverbs chapter 18 verse 21, which says this: death and life are in the power of the tongue. Alfred Nobel was a Swedish chemist and engineer who invented many things, and perhaps one of his most famous inventions is dynamite. He originally wanted to use it for the mining industry, for transport networks and the building of bridges, all good constructive purposes. It was the world's first safely manageable explosive, and he wanted to call it, originally he was going to call it Nobel's safety powder. But of course others saw its potential for more lethal purposes, and they began to use it in bombs and explosives, and it became known as dynamite, from the Greek word for power, dunamis. And the power of the tongue, says Proverbs, is dynamite. It contains both the power of death and life. It can harm and heal. It can be constructive and destructive. Death and life are in the power of the tongue. Let me give you some examples of its powers of destruction according to Proverbs. Chapter 11 verse 9, with his mouth the godless man would destroy his neighbour. Chapter 12 verse 18, the words of the reckless pierce like swords. Chapter 25 verse 18, like a club or a sword or a sharp arrow is one who gives false testimony against a neighbour. I'm sure you've all heard the saying, sticks and stones may break my bones, but words will never hurt me. What rubbish that is. Of course, words can hurt. They can destroy a person. And Proverbs speaks of words having the potential of being like a club or a sword or an arrow. They pierce, they wound, they damage. And perhaps you can think of someone that you need to apologise to, whom you have hurt, damaged by your words just recently. Maybe you need to temper your tongue. The ancient timeless wisdom of Proverbs tells us to watch your words. Watch how you speak to people. Be careful what you say to others. Your words are dynamite. But Proverbs also tells us that they can be life-giving. And that's what we're going to think of tomorrow.